Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my beautiful, beautiful angels. Today, we have a special guest. Her name is Tamara Larisa, who is a soulpreneur and who has been raised actually on the White Mountains in New Hampshire. And just like me, grew up very close to nature, to that alignment, to that language that is the base of our foundation to spiritually grow. Tamara has become the industry leader and educated for global real estate with the ancient wisdom of sacred geometry and site analysis. And we'll find a little bit more about that today. How are you, Tamara?
Fantabulous. How are you?
Very good. And I love the orange. You just bring this like warmth, this nurturing energy to
Thank
us. And I can sense that right away. You have chosen the path to go to the real estate world. Why?
I believe it chose me. I happened into it with a bit of resistance. However, it's in perfect alignment with, with my soul's work, which I know is to connect people heart to heart across the globe and to help people dissolve borders, whether they're geographic borders or neoplastic borders that we've had happen in our brains. So I never really intended to get into real estate. It just happened that way, and it's the perfect playground for me to actually connect with people because I'm helping them. I'm in residential real estate, so I help them to get into a home where they can anchor their souls, and so it's perfect.
So do you do a lot of work with clients into like clearing the environment and clearing the space that we're in and enhancing that? Would you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I do practice feng shui, and actually I started teaching feng shui for realtors, and that's how I really got into teaching everything in real estate. So I do offer feng shui for my clients. The first environment, of course, and for I'm sure your audience knows what feng shui is, and it's about living in harmony with the natural environment for quality of life. And the first environment that we actually live in is our body temple. That's our first home, essentially. So balancing out the energy within an individual is first and foremost, and then the external environment. So I do offer feng shui, but I'm a conscious realtor, and so I seem to attract other soulpreneurs as well.
Wow, that's amazing. Because a lot of times we focus on the home that we live in and we forget about the most important one, which is the one inside of us. When you help somebody find their home, which one comes first? Do you help the person realign their energy first and then you help them find the ideal home for them?
Part of it is symbiotic. Mostly, though, I connect first with what their vision is. And so I will ask them, what are your short term and long term goals? And that helps open up the dialogue of what their intention is for the space. And then we will move through it from there because sometimes people they're living in someone else's, life scenario, and they're not really in alignment with their own goals, and they don't even know what those are. So getting, under the layers of what, society is telling them that they need for a home and all of that is the first conversation to have because sometimes it's not in somebody's best interest to, purchase a house or purchase the house that they're thinking that they want to purchase. And so we do have a reality conversation first about, what is in their highest and best interest.
Oh, that's amazing. You're probably actually the only person that I know in real estate that took this magical work and applied it into real estate. And I think it's so needed because that is our home, that is our foundation. And our
Absolutely.
environment affects us up to 90%. So if the
Yes.
home that we choose is not aligned with ourselves, then how can we move forward?
Absolutely. Yes, and it's where we rest and renew, and it's where we connect with our family, and yeah, it's so important.
How open are people to hearing different perspective, to learning something that is beyond the humanness of what they knew before?
Yeah, so more and more, which is wonderful. So when I first started in real estate, 20 years ago, and I was sharing feng shui, people, thought it was strange and different, and there was still some intrigue there as well. More and more people are seeking me out, particularly in the first recession that we had, the first recession that I experienced in my real estate career. There have been plenty before this, but in the financial crisis around 2008 or so, when people were losing everything, they all of a sudden become a little bit more spiritual. And so my feng shui business actually did really well through that season, because people were seeking out a deeper meaning for life, because they had attached their value to material things. And now that their material things were going away, they had, this crisis of identity, and knowing that there's something deeper and something more. And so through that, and I just continued to teach it. And even when I'm teaching other classes like law or ethics or global real estate, I still weave in the spirituality into it, and people are craving it. And I now more than ever, I've noticed people, the consciousness of the planet has expanded so much that people are just like, yeah, they didn't know that this is what they were missing, but they were missing this piece. And that is to live consciously and be intentional.
You were pushed in this direction to help people create that harmonious or design the harmonious home that is aligned with their soul. Why this path? And how is this related to your growth?
Yeah, so I've known since I was a child, like I just had this knowing or sense that I would do something global that connected people across the planet, to connect them heart to heart. And I just had this knowing and this vision of, like, this is what I'm here for. I'm here to help people be in love, And it doesn't matter, where in the world you live or your nationality or any of that, that we're all one, that we're all connected. And that's how I felt in nature. And I felt, everything has energy, and so as a young person, I knew that I was part of something greater. And then it just evolved into this particular career path. And now I get it, it's like, even with recent insights, I'm like, oh, I get why it's real estate and global real estate, because I can have more of an impact globally through this industry, more so than any other industry on the planet. And now I'm part of a brokerage that is a very unique business model that is rapidly spreading across the planet. And so I will be able to get my message out to more real estate agents, who then will get it out to their communities. And yeah, and it'll have a bigger impact. So it wasn't an intentional strategic thing that I chose. Like I said, I think it chose me, my soul chose it. And now I'm just living out, was essentially predestined, I think.
What a beautiful way to build conscious wealth,
Yeah.
especially in real estate. I love it.
Yes.
I would love to know more about how you actually apply sacred geometry into building that perfect harmonious home.
Yeah. So with feng shui, when we're going, the path of specifically traditional feng shui, we're aligning the energetic dynamics of the property with the person or the people that are going to live there. And so it's based on when they chose to manifest into this physical time space reality we're all choosing to play in right now. And so it's based on their birth date. And so I would calculate out their birth date, as well as the birth of the property, and then the cardinal directions. So it's based on the cardinal directions of the movement of the energy of the planet, and then their own energy, and then we line them up together. That's essentially the feng shui process that goes through.
That is quite elaborate. So you
Yeah.
align the person's geometry, the person's data to the house energy.
Yes, yes, yes. And even with businesses, with the building as well. So it can be done in commercial real estate as well.
Okay. So
Yeah.
can you please describe a process? Like somebody comes up to you, let's say I come up to you, like, okay, I need help to find my perfect home, to get myself in balance. I need a shift. How does this process look like?
Yes, so I would have that conversation with you about what your short and long-term goals are, so we would discuss, like lifestyle for you, and, what the space would be like. And then based on your birth date, I would give you a suggestion of how your home should face, like where in the area that you're looking, that home would be located in general. and then the facing direction of the property. And then inside the property, there are other spaces that we line up as well. So the kitchen where the stove is important, the placement and the facing direction of the stove. The bed in the primary bedroom where your head is pointed when you're sleeping, that's important. And then if you work out of your home, where your office is located, and then where your desk is sitting, in what direction it's facing when you're working, when you're prospecting.
Well, now I have to ask, do I face the sun or do I face the opposite when I'm working?
Yeah, well, it's based on so you're intuitive, which
Yeah.
is beautiful. So you are already, I'm sure, facing the right direction because you would already know, you would feel uncomfortable. So our bodies are like tuning forks. And so you have a resonance within your body and a knowing within your body. And people who are super in tune with that, or have intuition, right? They already know what their best directions are, and when a space is good for them, that's supportive and cultivating their chi, their energy. And so you would already know. But otherwise it would be, then we would calculate out with your birth date what your positive auspicious directions are,
That is
and you
phenomenal.
would base that.
I want to
Yeah.
hear a story where somebody had a certain lifestyle. You went in and you helped them adjust, shift a few things, and their life completely changed. Can you share a story
Yes.
like that with us?
Yeah, so I can share some our bedroom is super important, okay, because it's where we sleep, and you want that space to be like going into the womb, basically, that it's nice and comfortable, and there's not too much energy, like buzzing energy. And so I'll share this one couple, just they had trouble sleeping, and just things weren't going well health wise, business wise, things seemed to be going sideways. And when I was invited into their home to do a feng shui consultation, their bedroom was painted red. Red is a high energy color, and the element for red is fire. You don't want a lot of fire in the bedroom. A little bit for passion, but not a lot, because you'll have insomnia. So that was a fairly quick fix. And then they also had a picture of their son who was in active duty that they were, of course, worrying about all the time. So I recommend the bedroom is just for sleeping and for intimacy, and that's it.
I literally had this conversation with my boyfriend today because he picked up the phone and I'm like, I thought we had it set up. I'm like, no phones
Yes.
allowed, only
This is a
love
sacred
and only
space. Yeah, no business in the bedroom unless it's,
yeah, the right kind of business.
right, got it. Intimate business. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so that made a huge shift for them. Yeah, it's a sacred space. It should only be for rest and renewal and for intimacy. So no workout equipment, no, office stuff, and no business stuff in the bedroom.
Yeah, it's very important to build a sacred space in your home. I'm
Yes.
still there's still some questions about the geometry I'm channeling for the collective. What would be one thing, geometry wise, that we can set in
Mhm.
our bedroom to keep that vortex that it feels amazing and comfortable like a womb?
Yeah. So, well, your bed itself is super important. So the quality of the bed and the comfort of the bed, that's a space that you'd really want to invest in, to make sure that, because you spend a lot of your time there, so that it's supporting you and the materials are healthy for you, and nothing underneath the bed. So people will tend to store stuff under their bed. And so making sure that that's clear and clean, so that chi energy can circulate under the bed. Of course, if you're using some kind of, and I know that people will use different kinds of sacred geometry to support them energetically. And if it's working for you, fantabulous. Otherwise, yeah, nothing under the bed.
What do you take is on using crystals in the bedroom? Because they do emanate energy and they do amplify everything. What is your
Yes.
take on using them in a bedroom while you try to sleep
I
and
I
rest?
use crystals to process things while I'm sleeping too. So it this is where your intuition is really important, or paying attention, I would say. If someone hasn't quite developed their intuition yet and they're working on it, is to just pay attention. That when you are working with crystals have so much energy and different energy. So being very subtle, I would say. The energies are subtle, and you want to just slow down, pay attention, work with one crystal at a time till you really understand how it affects you and what the usefulness is for it for you. And keep a journal, whatever, do your own work around the crystals. Yeah, so definitely I use crystals during my sleep healing.
So it's different for every
Different things.
person.
Yeah, it's for different things, so if I'm processing through something where I'm clearing energy, I'm gonna use a different crystal than if I'm going to set an intention and inspire something to happen, and so forth.
Speaking of crystal, I literally have maybe like, I don't know, 7 of them right in front of me.
Yes.
Like I have like big ones
You
and
have your bouquet of crystals.
yeah, so that helps
That's great.
amplify whatever I'm doing, but a lot of times because they do absorb energy, and then when you take them in a bedroom, it's probably very important to clear them or to do a cleanse so they don't you don't bring some other energy that you don't want into your bedroom.
Yeah, as long as things are being processed appropriately, yes, absolutely.
So your path before this, was it like a complete shift in your life as you came across this energy work, this channeling that comes through you of building the cocoon, or that is something that simply gradually grew over the years?
It gradually grew over the years, because like I said, as a child growing up on the farm, I just knew everything was alive, like everything had personality, and that, now what I would refer to as source energy is streaming through everything. Back then it was, the word God is what I would use, but I still struggled because I lived in a culture that was more, my parents were raised Catholic. Thankfully, they didn't raise us Catholic, but still, brought some of the Christian principles into my upbringing. And so I knew that God wasn't this man that they portrayed in the Bible. And so I had to kind of struggle. I struggled with what was society saying and what I really knew myself. And so that process was a while, probably until I was in my early teens, of getting to the place where I'm like, no, I'm really defiant about this. I'm very clear, like that is not what God is. But eventually, when I started learning about quantum physics and meditation and all of that, and started doing, some of my own like self hypnosis and past life regressions and, quantum jumping and all of that stuff. It just added on to, this is what we are. Like we're all energy. And when I came across an article, it was in college, I came across an article on feng shui. And I was like, there, I'm not crazy. This has been studied for thousands of years. I knew it. And everything I read and learned about feng shui, it matched up to things that I knew as a child, like the colors, I made up personalities for my crayons and the colors and stuff. And it
Wow.
matched up to energetically what they were. And I'm like, I'm not crazy. This is real stuff. So it was a gradual, remembering is what I would say, like remembering, bringing pieces of me back to myself and saying, yeah, no, I know this for certain.
And you build your life with colors that represent
Yes.
you the most. I know I went through different gamuts of color from like wearing black and white to wearing red and white to very much so colorful. And I rarely wear black anymore. One thing I want to ask, because you help clients with building that home and designing in a certain way and aligning with their soul. What about the environment outside of our home? Because you travel quite a bit. So I want to hear from your personal experience because you speak on stages and you travel all the time. Do
Yes.
you
So we
have any tools or techniques that you build at home before you get there or maybe when you are there?
I do. So we literally create an environment wherever we go. So we have our own feng shui. It's like, people will say our aura or whatever. Like wherever we go, we bring our energy. Our energy is sourced from the inside out. So, people will say, oh, this person's affecting me. That person's affecting me. No, no, no. Nobody can affect you. It's all from the inside out. And you don't need protection from anything because we're all literally one. So we live from the inside out energetically. So having our own, cultivating our own chi and our own energy is first and foremost. And so continuing when we're traveling, continuing to do all the healthy things that I'm sure you do, drink water, do your meditation, do your wake, what I call a waking ritual. So some people call it a morning routine, but I work with people all over the globe that sometimes they, work in the middle of the night because they're doing business with somebody across the globe. So your waking routine, when you wake up, how you greet the day and cultivate your energy. So continuing to those rituals, regardless of where in the world you are, getting the early morning sun on your eyes, that's really important. Sometimes I travel to places where the sun doesn't shine the whole time I'm there. And so that, balancing that, just our circadian rhythm. It's so important to get that morning sunshine in your eyes, and then the evening as the sun is setting in your eyes, the nutrients and all of that is super important. So I'll do that with my own body first. And then when I'm in, say, a hotel room or Airbnb or whatever, I do rearrange the furniture too. I am that person. And so,
You're like, the whole
um,
furniture is moved, the bed is in completely different side of the
so you usually the bed is in the okay spot, but yeah, I'll rearrange the other stuff around. And so when I'm working, I face the western directions. And so west is a west group person, and so the western directions are good for me. So if I'm going to be facing, a direction, that's where it's going to be. So I'll move the tables and if there's a desk or something, I'll move it to face that direction. So I'll be in alignment with my own energy.
Now that I think about actually every hotel I go to, I move the desk. I'm like, where's the window? Where's the most light? Okay, that's what my
Yes.
desk is facing. Like I move everything right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can live life the way we wanna live. We don't have to live life the way other people tell us to live, and just because they put the desk there doesn't mean it belongs there for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you become your own expert. You become your own, like you essentially lay your own bed everywhere you go. And
Yes.
there's a saying in Romania, I'm gonna translate it, is how you make your bed, that's how you're gonna sleep.
Mhm.
Just like
Yes.
how whatever foundation you make in your relationships, in your home, in your environment, in your business, that is how you're going to live. That's the reward that you'll receive. So the foundation is so important.
Oh, I love the way that you all say that, as opposed to ours, like, "You make your bed, you get to lie in it." It's like the reverse.
And yeah. And also, I want to reiterate one more time what you just said is having an awaken routine. And I'm so adapting this because if you think about the word morning, you're mourning something or
Mhm. Yes.
someone. It's not a high vibrational word. I don't know why we're still using it in English, but you're awakening
Yes,
journey
yes,
where your
yes, I love
awakening
that.
routine, and that is amazing. Would you please share with us, like, what is it, 1, 2, 3 things or bullet points on your awaken routine?
Yes, and I'm sure that, some other guests have shared this too, is, of course, move your body, expand your mind, and cultivate your spirit. And so you can stack those together. So if it means going for a walk out in nature and doing a meditative walk, or is it, sitting and doing a closed eye meditation? So I like to change things up a bit. Always it is expanding my consciousness. So expanding my consciousness, my brain, like activating mind, body, and spirit, basically, and moving my body and cultivating my spirit. So appreciations are really good. People say gratitude. I like to use the word appreciation. So,
Mm, I love it. Would you please guide us on a beautiful meditative journey? If there is a journey to align the home that we already live in with our energy and vice versa, is that
yeah,
possible?
yes, 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 absolutely.
Mm, that was so magical. And guess what?
What?
I feel home.
Yay! Wonderful. Welcome home. I love
It
it.
it feels so amazing, and it's like The way I'll explain it is that the entire home became the same energy that I normally feel myself at. So it's
Yes.
almost like whatever Veronica's magic that I bathe in all the time, now the entire home is filled with it. I'm like, "Oh, this
Yes, 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 I love it, and then when you invite people into your space, they get to feel that energy, you know? They have a visceral experience.
they
It's like a
do."
hug, like when you hug someone, you just like, you know, you're enveloped in their energy.
It reminds me of a story. So about 9 months ago, I sold my place and I embarked on this traveling journey and I sold my furniture too. I'm like, anybody wants to come. So this family came in. They were from, I think, Salvador. This new couple just moved to Los Angeles and they found me. So they came and bought like majority of my furniture. And one of them was the couch that I would do a lot of meditations and healing work on. Within 24 hours, I get a message from the person that bought it. It's like, "You said that you were doing some form of healing, whatever work, but can you explain more about that? Because some strange things are happening." And I'm like, What can you tell me what the strange things are?"
Mhm.
Like, "Well, I slept on this couch and I'm just getting all this vivid lucid dreaming, and whatever I dreamed, it happened." And I'm like, "Well, give it a few more days." He would do the same thing. He would just lay on the couch and he would dream and get all kinds of downloads, and then it will show to him what would happen because I
Mm,
normally see things before they happen. You know?
yes.
So that's when I shared with you. I'm like, "Oh, it's infused with my energy for a while, you'll probably still use the effect of whatever energy was imprinted in that couch."
Yes, absolutely, and if it activated enough in him, then it would stay alive within him, yes.
And he had nothing to do with this work. In fact, it was the first time they heard the word soul healing. It's like, "Can you explain this? Like, why am I getting
Oh,
these dreams?" And then they
absolutely.
happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like when people have, organ donors give them, an organ, and then they have memories and experiences that are unique to that organ donor. So the energy can definitely be transferred. And of course, like we're all in, one anyways. And so it's tapping into that consciousness. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm like, the couch became a non-fungible token because now it's imprinted with a certain energy.
Yes. Exactly. See,
So
you could
you
do this with your crystals.
so you can go around the house and imprint the specific energy in any item that you have in your home, and then it becomes an extension of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love anchoring things into, jewelry and things like that. Anything and everything. Everything is energy and everything, everything's everything. Yeah. So that's the
Every
first principle of feng shui is everything's energy and it can be modified endlessly for positive change.
It's like we can't hold on to it, we can't stop the energy, but we can transmute it to exactly what we choose to have in our life.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Beautiful.
magical. So for those of you who really resonate with your energy, what is the best way for them to reach out to you or continue this journey?
Yeah, so gracefulsage.com if they want to schedule an appointment to, have a conversation and see how we can work together in the future, or Play for Prosperity to be invited into a private Facebook group I have that is all about playing for prosperity.
I love
Quite
that.
literally.
Isn't that the best part? When you play, when you have fun, that's when all the downloads and intuition comes in.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I help people, entrepreneurs, build businesses that are in alignment with their soul. It happens to be, real estate for me. However, it's different for everyone.
First of all and foremost, I want to thank you for your time and your light today. Even beyond that, I want to thank you for bringing home to so many people.
Oh, my delight. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for bringing the home to every single one of our VIP members through this journey today. It's truly, truly magical. If we just do that meditation every single day, the home becomes an extension of our energy field, and we get to create more light and enhance more light in the world with our
Yeah,
field, with our homes, with our businesses, with everything that we touch. Thank you, beautiful soul sister.
thank you.